Hey, Sylvia's here. I can't hear you. I can see you speaking, but I can't hear you. That's good. You can do some miming. I can see that. Right. Do
Okay.
some training, shall we? Oh, she made a sound.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Oh, there
good
we go.
morning, everyone. Now I can hear you and I know what to
Yes.
do now.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah, there we go. All right. Let's do some training.
Being hassled by my dog.
All right. Let's get moving. Start with this one. Squeeze your shoulder blades back. Externally rotate your shoulders, just nice and gently to begin with. Breathing in, standing up, and down. Breathing in, standing onto your toes, and breathing out. Again. As your body gets a little warmer, you can start stretching a little stronger into the movement. So a little bit more squeeze in the back from the shoulders. A little bit more reach up to the top. Same thing, but up the center. Down towards the back, so squeezing your shoulder blades back at the rear. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Nice big twirly movements now. Just lean your head across, keeping your spine nice and straight. Large movements. So as big as you can. Obviously the side and back are not going to be as leant forward as the front because of the structure of your body. You're just tipping your body as far as you can over in all directions, particularly when you lean backwards. Make sure you pull your core in strong so you don't put pressure on your lower back. Stretch into your hamstrings when you come forward. Just getting the hips to move all through the range of motion of those hips. Or maybe not quite all the range of motion, but you know, still nice and lubricating. And then go back the other way. Let's do an open and close. So pelvis tilts down, chest lifts up, arching the back as far as you can, pulling the elbows back, palms back, looking up, and then breathe out and curl up into a ball. Breathe in, open everything out again. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Keep it going, nice and smoothly, linking in with your breath. And then neutralize. Let's get some heat into the lower back. So hinging forward to 45 degrees if that's comfortable for you. Or if you're okay with that and you want to go further, you go down to 90 degrees. You're going to relax your spine completely, let it hang down. Then straighten everything up. Then let it hang down. Then straighten everything up and open your wings. Hang down, straighten and open the wings. Keep it going. Breathing in as you straighten up. Breathing out as you relax down. Squeeze your shoulder blades back and down. You're lifting those arms up as high as you can. If you start getting tired in the legs or the back, just bring your body back up to the 45-degree mark instead of the 90. And you can continue there. It's still working all the same muscles. Just a little bit less. Then round your back and roll your spine up. Into a small lunge. Just moving, bobbing up and down, moving back and forth. Just trying to get the legs to warm up, heat coming through the legs. Okay, so just moving around that lunging position. I've got my weight on the toe mainly of the rear foot, the ball of the foot, and coming down through the heel of the front foot. I'm lengthening and stretching through that back leg. Gently, of course, don't stretch hard because you're not really that warm yet, you see. So you don't want to do some kind of hard stretch when your body's cold. But just lengthening, moving the joints, opening up the joints, closing your hips, opening your hips, pushing your heel down, pushing your toes up. See, just wriggling, moving around. Switch to the other side. Same thing. Move that rear heel, up and down, open and close, bobbing up and down, shifting back and forth, just generally moving your body around to get some weight on those legs, lengthening and stretching gently through that back leg. Let's get the glutes engaged. Get that rear chain happening. So elbow to knee, or elbow towards the knee if you can't go all the way down. Opposite elbow towards the knee. Keep your knees strong, so keep your knee in line with your toe. Bring your weight over that knee that you're trying to touch. Try to get as low to it as you can until you can touch it. The rear arm is just squeezing out to the rear, so I'm pulling that arm fully back, squeezing the shoulder blade back, and I'm trying to get the elbow to touch the outside of the knee so that my body is forced to twist. See, it's like I'm trying to look up at the ceiling that way as I do the movement. So I'm bending my knees each time, standing up, bending my knees, but I'm also leaning forwards. So again, only go down to what's comfortable for you. If you get too tired, your muscles are too sore, take a breather for a couple of rounds, and then come back into it. All right, we'll do some tapping this morning. We haven't done tapping for a while. I'm feeling like I need to have something to wake me up this morning. Didn't get to bed that early. I didn't get to bed till about 11 last night after, finishing class, uploading stuff, sending the emails, doing the before bed routine. Anyway. You're just going to turn your body, so stand with your feet shoulder width and parallel, and just start to sway your body from side to side. But see how if you just relax your shoulders completely, when you turn your waist back the other way at the end of the turn, it causes your arms to kind of slap into your body. If I just turn and relax, turn and stop. I mean, they still kind of do it a little bit, but there's nothing much there. But if I turn and then turn straight back the other way, whoop, the hands flick, which is essentially what happens when you do a snappy punch, when you flick your hips back the opposite way. So just nice and loose, you see, nice and loose. And then as you speed up, be careful with this one. Listen to your shoulders. You don't want to pull something. So you can speed up, which gets the hands moving quicker, of course. And now we're going to use a little bit of control from the arms to direct the arms higher on the body. Be very careful with the one at the rear, particularly. That's the one which you could, if you throw it in a bit too hard and you're not used to it, you could strain a muscle. So again, I'm not doing this. That's hard to just do that with my shoulders. I'm still, you see, it's the body throwing the arms up into that position. I'm just tapping the chest and the shoulders. Doesn't have to be the same spot every time, varying that position. I'm just trying not to hit my microphone mainly. Whacking myself in the upper back. See, the rear hand is coming through like this. Trying to get that rear hand up as high as I can. And then gradually coming down a little bit. Forearms into the belly, midsection. Down into the lower belly, lumbar spine, all the way down. All right, now we're going to breathe in, stand onto your toes. You're going to come up like so. Standing up, 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 much the same as the first move we did this morning. Now we're going to breathe out through the mouth, stomp your heels onto the ground and tap from your front of your hips all the way down to your feet. Here we go. Same again. This time up the center, because you're going to go down the outsides of your legs. Same again. When you're leaning forward, try to get a little stretch in your hamstrings and keep your back straight. Same again coming up, but you're going to come down the back of your legs now. Again. And then last one, turn your feet out at 90 degrees, and we're going to come down the insides of the thighs. Same again. I love that one. It really does, when you're feeling just a bit, oh, like I've only just woken up kind of thing, just boom, 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 boom. I guess, that's why gorillas want to beat their chest, because when you hit yourself, it just releases more yang energy and wakes you up. Okay, I'm going to keep this morning's class a little bit more flow. I'll still give a couple of tips here and there if they come to me. But I'm going to do a little bit more flow this morning, just flowing through the form, maybe some of the small sansa. Because the last few classes I've been focusing a little bit more upon details, breaking down certain movements. So I don't feel like we've done just a general flow class where we don't stop and break stuff down. So that's what I'd like to do today. So let's start off with a gentle form. Okay, we're going to do a gentle form. Then we'll do a more vibrant form. Then perhaps a few rounds of the small sansao, and then finish with a standing Qigong. That's going to be our class for this morning. So I'll just give you a few insights as to what to focus on as we go through each variation of the form. For the first round, I want you to think about being very soft with your body, okay? So not kind of like big, strong, expressed kind of movements with larger stances, that kind of thing. Just soften everything down. I mean, it's still full postures. We're not going to do super small frame stuff. Still full postures. You're still doing the full-sized movements. But, you know, when it's the difference between going, okay, I can stretch fully out, or I can really stretch fully out, like that last 5%. That's what we do when we're going for that big, big form. Right now, I want you to go for that calming feel through the form. So it just means that, yeah, the size of the form, it's not physically that much different, but the intent of the reach on a step or something like that is just, you know, 10% less than as much as you can, kind of thing. Everything in the hands, again, just gentler in the hands. So the changes from yin to yang in your wrists, for example, you don't want to change the hands so far that you really feel like a big stretch and a compression either side of the wrist joint, things like that. So just soften the hands. So when they move, they're moving within a realm that you kind of can't really feel the wrist, as in the physical tensions, the compressions of the wrists. And the same goes for the rest of the body. When I'm saying single whip, you know, rather than like, oh, really pull this back and stretch and open, think of it as more of an internal activation form, rather than really physically moving and working your body. Apart from that general be soft thing, I want us to really focus upon the empty zones between the breaths, okay? So that is, I'll just demonstrate with the first move and then we'll flow through and I'll just call it out as we go. I think you've all done this before, but let's focus on it for the whole first third. We're going to breathe in. See the speed of the hands there? So already, straight away, there's just a slower sort of movement than usual. But there's the movement here as you breathe. Then you breathe out. So at the top of your breath, it's like a... before you breathe out. The best description of this is when you yawn. You go, and then you breathe out, don't you? Now, and when you do that, when you yawn, at no point during a yawn do you hold your breath. You don't go, there's no holding of your breath. All the muscles which are contracting to inhale, those muscles are staying on, and it's just more like your breath is slowing down, just going, oh, can I just get a little bit more? And then you release that breath out. And then the same kind of thing happens at the bottom of the breath when you breathe out. It's kind of like that settling at the bottom of the breath, okay, before you inhale. So, try to think about your hands. I mean, your whole body, obviously, should be flowing with this feeling, but your hands are the most obvious things. I find if you think about your hands as like, okay, here's an in-breath. There's that floating moment, you see. If you think about your hands as being the timing point, the sort of the slow down, the rest of your body will slow down naturally anyway. So of course the entire body should be following this this principle. So let's try and do the whole form. We'll do this version on the normal, the more common side, the right hand side. Let's give it a go. Sorry, let me just move that. That's an annoying obstruction. Got so many climbing things in this room now. It's amazing how strong the girls are getting just from hanging around.
Hanging around.
Okay, let's go. So, gentle, think calming thoughts. In breath. Floating moment at the top. Out breath. Settling. Swing it over, breathe in as you lift up. There's that floating moment, and breathe out as you sink. There's that sink, settle, in breath. The floating moment here is just as you're about to put the foot down, then breathe out. When I say settle, I don't mean stop, remember, you're still moving. Breathing in, and again the floating moment will be here as you're placing the heel down, lingering on that foot placement to get the balance perfect, and then moving forward. In breath, floater, and sink down. In breath. There's the floating moment just before you squeeze everything forward. And of course there's a natural sinking, settling on the end of that movement. Drag this one back, breathing in. The floating moment's going to be just as you start to come forward, teetering like you're on the top of a wave about to drop in, and come crashing down. Brush the palms on the settling. Open your hands out, breathing in. At the maximum, reach out. There's your floater. And release the breath as you strike forwards. Breathing in. There's your floating moment, and breathing out. There's your settling moment. Sit back ready, breathing in. And then you sink and breathe out into Fishes in 8. All the way over. Breathe in as you tuck in. There's the floating as you're kind of preparing yourself to then strike out to the side. In breath, lifting the hands up. There's a nice little teetering moment at the top. And let the fingers coil down as you begin to breathe out, sinking into that rear leg, extending and moving. Breathing in. Again, there's the floating moment just as you're placing your heel, and breathe out into posture. In breath. There's the float, out breath. In breath. Out breath. Just feeling those different timings. In breath, out breath. See again, now as we're doing this chi gathering, it's not one constant speed. It never should be one constant speed. It's mover, Sometimes I'm purposefully making noise with my breath so that you can hear what's happening. That's not how I would naturally breathe when doing my own form, of course. Let's do a gentle slap, step and release rather than anything explosive. Breathing in. And then breathing in again. Obviously the top of the move here is your floating moment. And then sinking down through the center. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. See, there's that little slowdown at the top of every breath. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in, rolling the foot up. And breathing out as you sink back. Breathing in as you scoop those hands up. Here's a really nice one. In. floating at the top, and then a long out breath as you sink the hands and sink the foot. Then breathe in. There's the floating before you release the strike on the out breath. Compress down, still breathing out. As the knee lifts, you breathe in. Floating moment there as I'm placing the foot and breathing out. Breathing in. Again, floating moment just before the strike and breathing out into hold the ball, sinking down, and then in breath into the knee. Floating moment as I'm placing the foot. Same again. Breathing in as the knee lifts, tucking the pelvis. Rolling the rear foot. In breath. Sinking back into that rear leg. Now again, dig your fingers under. Make it like you're lifting something up in your palms. Long in breath, floater on the top. And then a long out breath as you place your foot down. No weight goes in that front foot when you touch it. In breath. Now a little bit of weight goes forward as I strike. Sink back, breathe in as you lift. Breathe out as you come forward. Breathe in as you step through. There's the teetering moment and striking as you're coming forward. Into our Qi gathering. In breath when the left hand comes forward. Out breath when the right hand goes forward. Again, just like before, it's in breath and out breath. So there's that little slow down at the top of the in breath. Let's go into the punch. In breath forward. Out breath into the punch. In breath sitting back. And out breath. In breath. Closing it off. So you can see there how the breath really controls the speed of the form. Now that doesn't mean you have to do the form slowly. You could do that same principle and go like, but it's still got the principle of, see that little sort of a slowdown towards the end of the in breath when we're doing slow form. There are other things that will happen. That's just one concept. There are a lot of other principles that will happen with the breath as well. For example, other ways of thinking about it, which I won't go into too much detail now, but just to give you an idea of that there are other things. For example, anything that has a sort of a lifting element to it, that what I've just given you is the best mind state to be in. Like, yeah, something lifting up, sort of floating, and then coming back down. That I find really helps you to link in with the breath. Whereas other times, what's the best example? This one here, where we sink this way. Okay, that's an in-breath. But you can see there that the body is actually very much compressing down into that movement. It's sitting backwards and it's coming down. Everything about that posture is going down. There's no lift in that movement whatsoever. So with that one, rather than thinking like a floatingness before coming down, still the same principle that the body slows down in accordance with the breath, but more like you envisage you're charging up. So from here we'd breathe in. See, it's like, you see that kind of idea. Yeah, instead of thinking like, I'm up here and then breathing out down through here. If you're breathing in here, see, there's certain postures which will be in-breaths, but totally absorbing backwards type of in-breaths rather than any kind of lifting in-breath. Again, depending on the speed you do in the form, because there's another version of the breath with that. I think you all know this by now, that your breath, how you link your breath into your postures will vary depending on how quickly you do the form. You might take 3 breaths in a section where if you're doing it much faster, you might only take 1 breath, or this kind of thing. So from here, if I was doing very, very super slow form, I might breathe out here, and then here I might breathe in, because look, there's a lifting aspect. Just the very beginning, the final part is all downward, but there's a lifting aspect. So we could breathe in there, and you see then, and that breath could continue breathing out into that movement. If you were going to do that one a little bit faster. So here's where everything starts to change, you see. I might choose in my form to go really slow here. So therefore I'm taking 2 breaths. In breath, out breath. Now if I continue with that same super slow feel, I might go in breath, then another in breath, and then out breath on the second 2 strikes. So I'm breathing out on the first strike, little in breath, and then just as I'm sort of loading up that strike, and then breathing out on that one. Whereas if I chose to go maybe slow on this bit, but quicker on the end bit, because that as you begin becoming more in touch with your own form, there's no rule as to which postures should be quicker or slower. There's guidance in the beginning, not rules. So we could breathe in here, breathe out, see, 1 continuous out breath, no need for another in breath. That's probably my more common way. I think that's the way that I give as sort of the standard for beginners to learn. Anyway, yeah, you can see there that there's a lot of different variations. So I will eventually be putting all of these down onto a video so that people can go, all right, so here are the sort of set things. We can do it this way, this way, this way, and this way. And then after you learn those more set patterns, then of course you can sort of find your own rhythm at some point during your training. Okay, let's do the form again now. And we're going to do it a little bit faster. We're going to do it bigger and still apply that breathing principle, but it's just going to be faster and with a more yang approach. So instead of thinking like, keep everything super soft, I want you to just fill everything up a little more. Stretch everything open. Your fingers will stretch open a little more. Your body just kind of opens up a bit more. Each step you take, you'll reach it out to your absolute maximum stretch. That means maximum stretch, not reach like this by plonking into your front foot. Yeah, just think big. It's like the reverse of the polar opposite of what we've just done. That should leave us with a really good woken up energy, because I've got another 5 hours of classes to do today and a bunch of other work, so I need to wake up. I don't want to feel like chilled out at the end of class. I've got classes straight after this one, so I like to wake up in the morning. Okay, so let's do it again. We'll do left side now. Here we go. A little bit more swish through each movement, a little bit more kind of momentum through each movement. Here we go. In breath. Out breath. In breath. Out breath. Reach it forward. Sink, stretch, tuck. Back palm. In breath. Stretch it out. Bigger movements. Out breath. In breath. Out breath. Keep it flowing. Keep that large feeling. So it's quicker, but not super quick. Sink, tuck, lift. I always like to slow down on this one. Let's get a little bit more of a what word am I trying to say? Rambunctious? A bigger slap. That'll do. So bigger movements, charging your body up, winding your body up, turning from your center. Only a fraction of weight rocks ever into that front foot. Wind it up. And then slap it out. Here we go. And release that movement. And sinking down. variation on the breath. When you breathe out into this brush knee twist step, you can keep breathing out. And then breathe in. See, it's like a double out breath. Here we go. And then breathe in. Form has to be done quicker to make that happen, of course. Rolling the foot up. Coming back for play guitar. Large hands, large circles. So this gathering again, the hands are just a little bit bigger than before, a little bit quicker than before. Your breath is a little quicker than before. And into the punch. Center your body in your cross hands position. Straighten your knees, stand up as you press down. Breathe in as you open back out into your low Qigong position. And just sink down. Normal Qigong, low posture. Relaxing the body down now. Particularly letting your lower spine relax, just kind of melt down. But be really sure When you're tucking that under, when it's relaxing down, you're not doing the same up top. You're not rounding the top. You have to figure it out for your own body, to get your body straight here, to get your body nice and aligned. But most people tend to be arched in the lower back, so pelvis sticking backwards, so your bum is stuck out. So you've got that inward dip on your lower spine. Whereas the upper body tends to round forward too much on most people. So generally speaking, we need to think, tuck this under, but lift this and open it out. But be careful on that advice, because you might not be one of those people. You might have too much tension in your upper back, so your chest is already far too much stuck out. So you may need to sink the chest. All varies on your own body. This is why when you're at camp and we do Qigong in the mornings, I come around and give everyone their individual postural alignments. If you don't have a teacher with you, then a mirror is your best friend when it comes to Qigong. Preferably to the side of you. You can get benefit with the mirror to the front of you as well, to check your different parts of your alignment. Just let your hands come out to the sides. Breathing in. See, there's that floating moment again. And breathing out. Cross your wrists behind your back. Close off the Qigong. I think everyone's familiar with this. Well, thank you for joining me for that, guys. It's nice to just sometimes relax the mind and not think too much about all the details and just do our form together. That's sometimes overlooked, just doing stuff, just practice. I used to love just seeing Dad walk out the back. Oh, Dad's doing his training. I'd run out there and stand behind him and just follow him through the form rather than like ask questions and do any of that other stuff. So, right, so we've got a class at 12 o'clock noon today. If anyone's around in their lunch break and want to do a bit of training, I think I might potentially hang the bag up, do a little bit of punching stuff maybe. And then we've got our 6 p.m. class tonight for anyone who's around for that. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you.
Eli, can I just, the first Qi gather, how many things, circles, repetitions, whatever you call it?
As many as you like.
All right, lovely.
The idea is just sort of when you feel like, oh, I really want to hit someone now, you release it out. Same with the second one at the end.
Lovely, thank you.
No worries. See you guys soon.